I wanted to take the time I have today to talk with you about a time when I was living in Seattle. It was about the mid-90s or so, and I was walking past this Eastern Orthodox church that was in a part of Seattle where a lot of the homeless folks in Seattle would congregate because churches there would help them, that sort of thing. Now, walking past the front of this, it's either Eastern or Russian Orthodox church, and it had the kind of stairs that go up into the church, and then underneath those stairs, there's a lower entrance too. It was just this perfect little place for somebody to kind of camp out. And out of nowhere, as I'm walking past this church, these two dogs just kind of come running at me. He's like, and they're just going to rip, my throat out. And my first reaction was, of course, how do I protect myself against these dogs? What sort of kind of judo move am I going to have to use to stop these dogs? And then I recognized right away, the dogs. They belonged to a guy named Rupert. Rupert was a homeless guy in that area that had kind of become a friend of mine. I had done everything I could to get him out of his circumstances, but it just hadn't worked. So he had taken up residence underneath the stairs of this church with these great big two dogs. And if you came anywhere near the front of that church, those dogs were coming at you. Because the deal is, the reason a lot of homeless people have dogs is for protection. I hate to say it, but people just kind of in the middle of the night will walk past homeless folks and just kind of kick them silly. And so those dogs were there for a good reason. They were there to protect Rupert, and they did a good job of it. You didn't come anywhere near him without them coming at you. So my very second response to that, once I realized these were Rupert's dogs and I was going to be okay, my second thought was to feel sorry for that church. Come on. What are you supposed to do as a congregation when some homeless guy brings his two dogs and ties them up to the front of your church so that no one can come anywhere near it? It's kind of like, that would be a really, really hard sell to a congregation. I'm sure that I wouldn't have had the courage to try and tell people, just let Rupert be because at least he's safe. That was my second reaction, was kind of to feel sorry for that church. After a time, though, I had a third reaction. And this was the reaction filtered through the lens of love and compassion. Compassion is two words that mean to suffer with. And I started to think about what this church had done, about this bold decision that they had made, because Rupert stayed there for a while. The bold decision that they made was that it was more important for Rupert to have a place to stay where he was safe with his dogs, where they could be kind of able to kind of protect Rupert and that sort of thing. It was more important for him to be there and to be safe than for that church to have any real success. Because if you think about it, the idea of who's going to want to come to a church where there's going to be an opportunity, a possibility, these two dogs are going to jump out at you. It's almost impossible to imagine how that church was even supposed to function with Rupert living under the front steps with these two dogs. But for whatever reason, that was the decision they made. They let him stay there for a good long time. And while he was there, he was safe. I kind of think about that, knowing that I would never have the courage to make a decision like that. I'm not that bold and I'm not that strong. But that church did it. And it was a reminder to me that, it's possible to live in this world with kind of like a Christ-like love, even though sometimes I fail at that. It's possible, for instance, for a church to think that it's better for them to protect one Rupert than to have success as a church and have people coming in and visiting and all those other sorts of things, because they weren't going to have that at all. They chose Rupert over themselves. They emptied themselves of their need to be whatever, right? Whatever you want to fit in there, whatever all churches want to be. They decided that those things were not as important as this one child of God who needed protection and who needed a place to stay. And so they gave him that place. That church kind of taught me about the reality that we can all take upon ourselves the same mind that was in Jesus going to the cross, who emptied himself of his own authority and his own power in order to suffer with compassion. I guess that's why we call it the Passion story. That church taught me, Rupert taught me, and those dogs taught me that it is possible in this world to love others at least as much as you love yourself. And I haven't gotten to that place yet. I'm still pretty selfish, and I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't let somebody tie their dogs to the entrance of a church, even if I knew it would protect them. I still have a long way to go. but I hope to get there someday soon. Hey, enough of that. I'm starting to preach. I hope you have a great day. Take care of each other. Remember, we're all in this together.